It's time to go into business for yourself. Get ready for another episode of the Franchise Academy podcast. Here's your host, small business and franchise expert, Tom Scarda.
I'm so glad that you tuned in. Today is a special day because I have a special person with me. But first I want to say, what's interesting about this podcast world is that I call it narrowcasting. So you come here to hear specific things about franchising, business ownership, best practices. Broadcasting is the old school, like we're just going to broadcast to the world and you're going to like what we have or else you got nothing. Here you get to choose it. So thank you for choosing the Franchise Academy. It's so great. Today this is kind of selfish. I invited Halle O'Neill on because I have lots of questions about content strategy for my own business. So I want to bring in an expert that could do this. So Halle is a content guru. She works for, she's a brand director for Momentum Brands, which is a fractional CMO company. So Chief Marketing Officer company. So it's fractional where they could do all your marketing for you or train you on the outside. It's an amazing company. I know the owner, Brooke, and there's so much to say just about that. But I want to talk more about Halle. Halle is an aficionado with this kind of stuff. She comes from this background from agencies, and she just has a wide experience in everything. The other thing I wanted to talk to Halle about was margaritas. And so she's on a quest for the perfect margarita. Now, I don't like margaritas. However, I am what I consider a tequila aficionado. So, Halle, welcome to the Franchise Academy, aka Tequila Drinkers Incorporated.
Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. I wish we were in the same city so we could do a tequila tasting after this.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, next time or at the next franchise conference, we should make that a thing.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, it might lead to also getting tattoos afterwards, but that happens with tequila. So be aware.
I love it.
Just be aware.
Love it.
Have you found the perfect tequila or the perfect margarita, I should say?
Oh gosh. I hate to toot my own horn, but I think the perfect margarita comes from my very own kitchen with my coveted mix recipe. I'll have to send it to you.
Oh, that's so cool. That is great.
Yeah.
Definitely a hit at a barbecue or a post golf event here in Florida where I live.
You know it.
All my friends like margaritas. I just like tequila. There's a great app called Tequila Matchmaker, which you should check out.
Yeah.
It actually rates every tequila known to man. And there's two categories. One for people like us that just give our opinion, and then there's professionals. And they talk about the way it's made and the organicness of it and all of that. So you should check that out.
I dig it. They should be paying you that free plug right there.
I'm going to let them know. I'll send them this clip.
Yes.
But, so we're here really to talk about content strategy, things that people could do for their business, like almost immediately. I'm very much like into LinkedIn. I feel like that's where my customers are, but there's people out there doing, things called like TikTok. Like, I don't know, who's on TikTok that would want to buy a franchise, but maybe I'm missing the boat there. I don't know. So tell me about what you feel from your perspective is like LinkedIn and what's going on in the business environment today.
Yeah. I love starting with this question because it's really going to set the tone for our conversation on differentiating LinkedIn from other platforms and understanding why it's so important to invest the time and the energy and the resources in a LinkedIn content strategy. It's just as important as investing in an Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok strategy. And the number one reason why it's different, what I tell brand leaders is people engage differently on LinkedIn than they do on other platforms. So I like to call it passive content consumption. So typically on Instagram, for example, you're likely scrolling mindlessly. You're not really taking in the information. It's mindless, it's passive. But when we consider LinkedIn and the users on LinkedIn, they're likely not passively scrolling. They're there for a reason. They're there to network, they're there to connect, they're there to find work, to promote their business. So taking advantage of an audience that is paying way more attention than they are on any other platform, it's just a no-brainer to
Mm.
take advantage of.
Right. And
Yeah.
their base on there is like in the, I don't know, like half the world literally has a LinkedIn profile,
Yes.
you
Yes,
know?
they do have a LinkedIn profile. However, if you are a brand or a brand leader, I think it's one thing to have the profile, to your point, everyone has, but hardly anyone is actually utilizing
Hmm.
the app and posting consistently and using it as a tool to promote their personal brand or their franchise brand or
Right.
what have you.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so what do you tell somebody like me who's like, I know I need to do this. I don't have the
Yeah.
damn time. I don't know what to do. What should I do first? It needs to be perfect because it's on video or something.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yes. So great question. And it's one we get often when we talk to founders of franchise brands. One, I would say for a personal brand, do not overthink it. The best in class strategy is just to start today. You don't have to overthink it. It doesn't have to be overly curated, overly thought out. Truly, people are just seeking realness. They're seeking free value. They want to know your tips. They want to know how you got to where you are now, the mistakes that you've made, um, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say for someone that might not have enough time, just truly start by posting a question today or your opinion on something and see how it performs. And you can start to gauge what your particular audience is interested in talking about. You can
Mhm.
also, a tip that Brooke, our founder, she always does is she will post and then at the bottom of her post, she'll tag two, three, four colleagues that she often agrees with or even disagrees with. And she'll have them comment their take on her post. It's a great way to start conversation, to get engagement, to build community on LinkedIn.
Love that.
And I think that's a really great place to start. I want to give one other tip on this topic. We were speaking about this before the podcast is repurpose your content. You do not have to recreate the wheel every single day for every platform. I often start long form with newsletter content or blog content, and then I will repurpose pieces of that for everything, for LinkedIn posts, for Instagram posts, for Instagram reels, whatever it might be, repurpose your content.
It's so interesting that you say that. So we just spoke before we kind of went on the air here that you got a newsletter from me a couple of months back and you really liked a
Yeah.
certain thing. And it was like so
Mhm.
inspiring to me to know that this little kind of life story that I was just telling in passing. It was just,
Mhm.
it was just the way I grew up. My father was a
Mhm.
cop. My uncles owned an oil business. My father said,
Yeah.
we don't have any money, but we have time. And my uncles had a lot of money, but no time. And he's
Mhm.
like, his choice, one or the other is what my dad said. And I come to realize that you can have time and money, and that is success with the right business,
Yes.
with the right system.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's the tidbit, and that's the video that I want to make after this. So thank you for that. It would be really
Yes.
cool if a company like yours had like um I don't know, some kind of tips to say like here's what
Yeah.
you need to do.
Yes, absolutely. We have a ton of tips, lots of direction. Um, in general, we are big proponents of offering free value and free tips every single day. We do it in the form of our LinkedIn content strategy. Check out Momentum Brands on LinkedIn. We post free tips for franchise brands and leaders every single day. We also have a weekly newsletter called The Sauce. And in The Sauce, we give free tips. We talk about consumer insights, industry insights. Sign up for that on our website, themomentumbrands.com. And in addition to that, I would love to give your audience a really easy tip they can implement today. All they
Yes.
need, yes, this is good.
Huh.
This is good. All you need is a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm going to walk you through a really quick little exercise that we do with brands to help them curate a LinkedIn content strategy. You could do this for your personal brand. Doesn't matter, either one works. So it's three parts. It's a three-part formula. Part one, we always encourage whoever we're coaching to get in a state of curiosity. So we're asking tons of questions to understand, where do we currently stand on our LinkedIn content strategy? Describe what it looks like now. Frequency, engagement, content, topics, etc. And now we also want to understand, what do we want the strategy to look like? What are we trying to accomplish with that strategy? What are some particular brands you admire on LinkedIn and you want to emulate their content because it's really good and has high engagement? What are the brand values and brand messaging you want to be clear in your content? What emotions do you want to evoke when someone is consuming your content, etc.? So we have a series of questions to really understand our current state with the current strategy, kind of like point A and point B. And then step two, we're going to talk about how we're going to get to point B. And that is with setting up your goals. So every brand that we work with, we want to help them curate a list of goals anywhere from 5 to 7 usually. And it's the exact micro goals of what we want to accomplish with the LinkedIn content. So first and foremost, if you are a franchise brand, one of your top goals should be, how can this content strategy support a healthy lead flow for franchise development? That's always one of the number one goals that should be on the list. And then the rest, typically it's different from brand to brand. But another one that I usually encourage is, we should be creating validation and credibility on your LinkedIn page. So if a prospect is on your page and they are searching for reasons to invest in this brand and become a franchisee, you know they're doing their own research. They're looking through all of the websites, all of the social pages, they're reaching out to franchisees, they're doing all of the things. Why don't you have a resource for them on your brand LinkedIn page, just jam-packed full of all of the reasons why they should invest in your brand?
Mm.
The revenue streams, the industry insights, the franchisee testimonials, just any of that valuable information that a prospect is going to look at and think, oh my gosh, I need to be involved in this brand. Lastly, the third element of our LinkedIn content formula is creating your pillars. So now you have your list of information, your kind of point A, where we're starting from and where we want to go. We have our goals, and now we are going to create our content pillars. Think of this as the foundation of your strategy. It is the big, important categories of content that you are going to cover. So, for example, if we're creating validation and credibility on your brand page, then one of the pillars should probably be franchisee and customer testimonials. And the entire content pillar should be about the success stories and the way that the brand has changed people's lives, and all of the ways that they love the brand, et cetera, et cetera. So you create your brand pillars. And once you have all your pillars, it becomes so easy to create the content under each pillar. And you ensure that throughout a month, you hit on every single pillar multiple times. And by the end of the month, not only will you have a page full of beautiful branded, jam-packed with information content, you are also going to have the gift of data. You are going to understand what your followers are engaging with, what they want, what they don't want, and it's going to arm you with the information to edit the strategy and further curate it into an even more impactful one.
Yeah, that's like not that's not a gold nugget. That's like a whole mine of gold.
Mic drop.
Yeah, right. I'm like, wow, okay. Because I could see that because now like I know it's almost like goals. My pillars are goals. Like here, these are the
Yes.
4 goals I want to hit with my content. So let
Yeah,
me, break out my camera and say something about testimonial. Let me say something about,
exactly.
our support or, whatever it might be. So
Yes, exactly.
brilliant. So
Thank
that leads
you.
me to another question. So
Yeah.
how often, I know you get this all the time. How often should I be posting or should a company be posting?
Yes. A great question. And I wish it was a simple one, but it's just simply not. And the reason is the algorithms on these platforms change so often. It's extremely hard to keep up with them. And currently, organic reach is actually down across most platforms except YouTube Shorts. Fun fact. However, that being said, I used to say maybe a couple of months ago that I would personally be posting on a brand page 4 to 5 times a week, like really investing most of my time, energy, and resources into 4 to 5 high quality pieces of content. However, because the algorithm has shifted so drastically in the last few months, today, what is today? August 7th, 2024. This is subject to change, you guys, in a few months. I am recommending that you post 2 to 3 times a week on the brand page and ensure it's high quality, of course. Ensure that you are hitting all different types of content, video, imagery, the carousel posts, right? The slider posts, whatever you want to call them. But what are you doing with the extra time that you have left because you're not spending so much time curating 5 posts anymore? Is you are using the extra time for an engagement strategy.
Oh, okay.
An engagement strategy is such an opportunity that I see so many brands lacking. It is the personable touch of your content strategy where you go in and you actually engage with your followers. You ask them questions in the comments, you respond to their DMs, you acknowledge their feedback, whatever it might be. That is the golden ticket that so many brands are missing. People want to be engaged with and heard, and they want their opinions and their feedback to be heard. So that's my biggest tip for frequency is yes, it's important right now, I think 2 to 3 times, but spending 15 to 20 minutes every day just engaging with your followers, I think it's going to change everything for brands.
Wow. That's so cool. I want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about that's like so much I can't even like think right now, but
Hmm.
I want to talk about brand, relevance. Like what's hot today is not hot tomorrow, then it becomes
Yeah.
hot again, and what's the
Mhm.
tipping point and like all of this stuff. Um, so how does a brand maintain relevance in their category?
Yeah, that is a great question. And it's tough because you want to strike a balance between being true to who you are, being true to the brand mission, the brand values, and the beliefs, and maintaining that. Because remember, we can't be everything to everyone. However, in this crazy world of 2024, where every market is extremely saturated, you have to be relevant. It's a part of the game we're playing here. And there are lots of tips I have. One is if you do not have someone on your marketing team that is your target demographic, you are missing out. I have talked with so many brands that have a target audience of Gen Z and young millennials, yet they do not have that generation represented on their marketing team. It is such a miss and such an easy way to have a window into the age group, right? And to understand what they're interested in. Another tip that we tell brands all the time, it's a mouthful. Consume what your consumer is consuming. So, for example, if your target audience, if your target consumer is Gen Z, what are they consuming? TikToks? What streaming platforms are they on? What clothing brands are they interested in? What fast food restaurants are they spending money on? Like whatever it is, consume what they're consuming to understand what are the brands and platforms that they are regularly engaging with. What are those brands doing? Because it's working,
Mhm.
and emulate what those brands are doing.
Can you give me
So,
an example of that? Like any kind of a company that stays relevant through all this noise? I don't know. I don't know if you could do that.
say that again. Sorry.
Do- Can you give an example of a brand that has maintained relevance over time?
Ooh, good question. Okay, I'm going to bring it back to LinkedIn a little bit. This might throw you for a loop. I think this will surprise people.
Mhm.
UPS.
How boring.
UPS. Yeah, I know. I know. UPS, out of all brands, if you are not following UPS, follow them right now on LinkedIn. They have 2 million followers on LinkedIn, and they obviously have someone coordinating their content that is extremely relevant and savvy. And she's literally made UPS, he or she has made UPS cool.
Hmm.
It is unbelievable what they have done. They are taking advantage of every national holiday, every national theme, every month. Like they are taking advantage of the conversations that are already happening online and creating UPS forward content for those themes. For example, National Internship Day or Intern Day, excuse me, was a few days ago. And they did a huge post about National Interns Day, and they did a big picture of their summer interns and quotes from them and how this has been the greatest start to their career. And it's just, it's really incredible what they do. They are funny. They do lots of comedic content. It's very relevant. It's so on brand. They absolutely turned what is a seemingly boring industry into cool, engaging, enchanting content. And I highly recommend looking to them for inspiration.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a surprise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Big Brown. That's what I remember them as back in the day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
wow. And they're
Hmm.
global. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
so crazy intriguing. Before I forget to ask you, what is your contact info or your
Yeah.
website? Just so we'll get that in there now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Halle at themomentumbrands.com. Reach out, shoot me an email. I also do one-on-one LinkedIn strategy coaching. If you're interested in something like that, absolutely reach out. You can also follow us along at our Momentum Brands page on LinkedIn. I post on my LinkedIn almost every day. I actually do a weekly series called Culture Shock every Wednesday. So look for that. We talk about pop culture and what's impacting brands and consumers.
Hmm.
And then our website, themomentumbrands.com. And yeah, follow along, shoot us a message. We love connecting and building our community. It's fantastic. Thank you,
That's
Tom.
so cool. It's
Yeah.
so cool. Um, I think probably the biggest problem is a lot of people are still stuck in old school marketing techniques. So, for me, my age, and I'm uh, I'm just not savvy. So it helps to bring in somebody that is a Gen Z just to give better ideas. So that's a great thing. So thank you for that. What's
Yeah.
one myth that you could break maybe about marketing or social content or anything like that, right here, right now?
Yes, I love that. So, a myth that I would like to bust is that you need a huge budget for impactful marketing. I
Mhm.
promise you, you don't. You need to be savvy. You need to source free tools. There are so many free tools and so many pieces of free content out there. Of course, our, like I've mentioned now, our LinkedIn page, we offer so much free value, but YouTube Shorts, there's just so much free content. I promise you can do so much more than you think you can with a small budget. And I do want to take this opportunity to talk about a new service that we are rolling out at the end of the year. It is a Momentum Makers Mastermind group.
Oh,
It
wow.
is a fraction of the cost of our one-on-one coaching packages, and you get 12 live sessions with me and Brooke Budke, our founder, on all things grand opening marketing. It's going to be incredible. There's going to be brands from all industries, networking opportunities, accountability partners, implementation. It's going to be great. So I'm busting that myth, Tom. You don't need big budgets. You just need to be smart and savvy and work your network.
That is so cool. Work the network.
Yeah.
Well, Haley, this has been so cool and
Yeah.
so enlightening for me. I'm so glad that I had you come on here because
Thank
you answered
you.
all these questions I've been meaning to ask somebody for a long time, but didn't know where to go. So this has been grand. Look for all of Haley's information on the franchiseacademy.com and reach out, get involved with their marketing. I mean, it's so great. LinkedIn strategy
Yeah.
and other social platforms. They will help you get to the next level. So thank you so much. See you
Excellent.
at a franchise conference soon.
Thanks, Tom.
Be well. Bye.